Hello everyone, it's Refresh and I'm here to bring you a look at GamePlus Products' extra large board game size clear sleeves for cards that are 80 by 120 millimeters. The most popular game with cards of this size is probably Dixit, but there are several other games that use cards of this size. You can get one pack of these sleeves for $3.49 MSRP, and for that you get 50 sleeves, which is an average of 7 cents per sleeve. That puts this in the middle of the pack in terms of the cost of sleeves. So let's take a look at what we have inside. As you can see, the sleeves are smooth and glossy on both sides. Now let's make sure that there are 50 sleeves here. That is exactly 50. Everything is accounted for. Now let's check the thickness. One pack of these is about 1 centimeter thick, which means that each sleeve is about 200 microns thick, or 100 microns each face, which is a pretty standard thickness for the thicker, more rigid type of sleeve. Now let's check the dimensions. These sleeves are 83 millimeters wide by 122 millimeters tall. Let's see how a card fits. I have one Dixit card here. We'll stick it inside. Okay. This sleeve fits with a little bit of wiggle room on the left and the right, and there's actually not a lot of distance between the opening of the sleeve and the top edge of the card. It's kind of an odd fit, all things considered, since most sleeves will tend to be tighter on the sides and a little bit more open space at the top, but this one is sort of the reverse situation, and you can decide whether this is aesthetically pleasing to you or not, but that does mean that the top edge of this card is a little bit exposed because of how open these sleeves tend to be, as you can see here. Now we have the sleeving test. I'm going to sleeve these 45 Dixit cards in these sleeves and see how long it takes. Ready, set, go. Okay, sleeving these 45 cards took 2 minutes and 16 seconds, and that's a modest time of about 3.02 seconds per card sleeved. Overall, I didn't find the sleeving process too difficult. It was a bit on the slower side at times, and that's in part because a few of the cards actually caught on the bottom edge while I was trying to put them in the sleeve, and in part that's because you can see my Dixit cards are just a little bit curved as a result of handling them so far. So I think that was it. I don't think these sleeves are particularly difficult to put cards into, but because of the size of the sleeve, it does take a little bit of time. Now that the cards are sleeved, let's take a look at the sleeves for their uniformity and consistency out of the pack. The sleeves are pretty consistent in terms of their width. They feel like they are pretty much the same width, and they also feel like they are pretty much the same height, so that is pretty uniform. In terms of their quality immediately out of the pack, it looks like the sleeves are actually in pretty good shape. I don't really see any sleeves with major defects or bumps or anything like that. Some of the sleeves do have a little warping, so that is something to note right here. There's a little bit of warping right there, but it doesn't look like the majority of the sleeves have that warping. So that is something to be aware of, that these sleeves might be warped just a little bit out of the pack, but it is not the most noticeable warping, so it's not the worst. Now I'm going to do the shuffle test. I'm going to shuffle these sleeved cards 100 times and see how long it takes. Ready, set, go. Okay, it took 3 minutes and 6 seconds to shuffle these cards 100 times, and that's actually a pretty impressive speed of 1.86 seconds per shuffle. This is almost as fast as any the other sleeve I've tested, and while the size of these cards makes it difficult to shuffle just because it's really hard to handle these, and it puts a lot of strain on your forearm to handle these and mass shuffle them, I did notice that these sleeves actually work really well with the waterfall style mass shuffling, where you just kind of let the cards open up and then you just drop the cards in, and the sleeved cards actually do a pretty good job of just following in like that. And I was really impressed how easy it was to shuffle it this way, because sometimes you really have to jam the cards in and they won't just drop in like that. And so that made this shuffling process quite easy, and I really appreciated that. Now that we have handled these sleeves quite a bit, let's take a look at how they fared in terms of their durability. Alright, well, I did notice a little bit more warping and a dent on one of the sleeves during this second look, but I didn't really think that that may have been caused during the handling. I do think that some of the gloss of the sleeve is just a slight bit wearing, and so I do feel like over time the rubbing of the sleeves against each other will result in the gloss wearing or perhaps some sort of mild erosion of the surface of the sleeve. But I do think that these sleeves, the corners aren't bent, that there are no split sleeves, and they do look like they've held up pretty well over the handling. So I do feel like these sleeves are going to have a decent amount of durability. The only concern then is how much will it protect the top edges of your cards, because as you can see they're quite visible here because of the shortness of the sleeve. And now I'm going to do the shake test. I have these sleeve cards in a deck. I'm going to shake the table that they're on for about 2 seconds and see how well the deck holds up. Ready, set, go. Okay. I think that because of the size of these cards, they are unlikely to fall to begin with, and as you can see, the deck just slid a tiny bit. It didn't really come close to falling, so I'm not really concerned that these sleeved cards are going to fall in a deck, even though there is a significant accordion effect. So that is a pass for the shake test. And now I'm going to do the draw test. I'm going to draw 3 cards off the top and see how well the deck holds together. Ready, set, go. Alright, the deck barely budged as I took cards off the top, so I do feel like this is going to hold together pretty well as you handle and manipulate the deck on the table, and so I do feel like this is a pretty stable set of sleeves that you can use to sleeve your extra large cards, and so that is a pass for the draw test as well. In the end, I do really like these sleeves in terms of their general quality. I do think that I would personally have preferred sleeves that are just a little bit taller, because as you can see, the cards, as you handle them, push up almost towards the very top edge of the card. There's not a lot that's protecting the top edge of the card from whatever the elements are, whether it's a liquid being spilled on the table or just whatever the elements like dust or, you know, the edges of other sleeves hitting the top edge of the card or whatever it might be. And so that is my one real complaint about these. I do wish that they were maybe a millimeter taller in terms of their overall height, but it does mean that the sleeves don't carry a very thick profile. You can still see them from the sides, which is kind of why it kind of boggles my mind a little bit. They're so wide and so short, but overall that is an aesthetic preference. Some of you don't mind the loss of protection for sleeves that look like they fit a lot tighter, and as you can see, they look pretty decent in overall. They are glossy, which means that they do reflect light quite a bit, but that's just par for course for most sleeves, and I felt like the durability and the consistency were pretty good. These aren't flawless sleeves, like some of them did come with warping and apparently one dent out of the pack as well, and so you're not going to buy these because that they are going to be the most premium, best card sleeves that you can possibly buy for your money for cards of this size, but I do feel like they do end up being a pretty decent value at 7 cents per sleeve for sleeves that are functionally quite good, and they look pretty good, and they seem to have a decent amount of durability. And so if you're looking for some relatively inexpensive sleeves that are also of a good level of quality, then these might be ones that you might want to look into. That is GamePlus products, extra large board game size clear sleeves. If this video is helpful to you, hit the like button. If you'd like to see more such videos, hit subscribe. I'll be back with a look at more sleeves for cards of this size in the future. I have surveys in the description box below. If you have experience with these sleeves or any other sleeves of this size, you can click on the links in the survey below and share your experience in terms of their consistency and durability, and those will be available at the Init Games resource page. Thanks for watching. This is Refresh, and I will see you next time.